sudden the defense minister of Japan pays you a visit? What does that mean? What did he tell you?
Again, it's a very important meeting. You're here with the #1 defense official for the government of Japan, so that is significant. We had a very cordial but frank discussion in regards to the Marine relocation. I restated the support that our administration has and the people of Guam have for the realignment of forces. But I also advised him of a major roadblock and hurdle, and that is, again, the lack of support in funding our infrastructure. The good news is he wanted more detail. He asked, what particular infrastructure are you talking about? And I made it very clear that our water, wastewater infrastructure is far from ready, and the people of Guam cannot afford to provide or to pay for these upgrades that are necessary, especially within the timetables that the government of Japan and the United States are looking at. I said, for the people of Guam to be able to afford this $1 billion in infrastructure support, you're looking at 15 years plus. That would at least be digestible for the people of Guam. But I also just don't believe it's right that we, the people of Guam, pay for this. So I did advise him that we've had support from the Defense Department and the Navy. We've had support from the administration and from the House of Representatives. What is clearly the roadblock, it lies in the halls of the Senate. And I requested to the Defense Minister that he use whatever influence he can to make that known to those folks that are hurdles and roadblocks in this matter. And I did mention Senator McCain. And of course, the good news is he will be meeting tomorrow a representative from the Senate, U.S. Senate. I'm not too sure which senator he will be meeting, but he did advise that he will be discussing this with leaders of the United States and the Senate as well.
Did he reveal anything new relative to the buildup or just relative to Japan infrastructure, Japan-funded projects here on Guam?
Just his trip to Guam is a message in itself. Again, we had a 20-minute discussion on very important matters. He made it very clear that they understand the burdens of the people of Okinawa, and the national government is looking forward to ways to alleviate this burden on the people of Okinawa. And with that, I advised him that the people of Guam are patriotic American citizens, and we are ready to shoulder some of this burden, but that means that there has to be movement towards the precepts of the programmatic agreement, a One Guam approach, which means is the United States federal government and the government of Japan has to assist us in improving the quality of life for our people. And we've got to focus first on the bare necessities, and that's the infrastructure.
Right. Did he express?
And I skipped you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did he express any concerns about the build-up?
I think when I made mention about the timetables of the people of Guam being able to afford this not being in line with the government of Japan's desires or the federal government's desires, I did note a little bit more silence in the room. And again, I think it's important. The people of Guam are ready and willing to support the interest of the United States. We're very patriotic people, but it can't be on the backs of the people of Guam. So with that in mind, we're looking towards the support from the government of Japan and the United States. And I was appreciative, and I thanked him for again, the $1 billion that they have provided to the federal government. We are thankful that the House has passed legislation just this past week that would allow for the spending of money for infrastructure. The only obstacle, and I made note of it, is now it goes to the Senate. And if history is telling of what the Senate will do, and if they repeat what the Senate will do, that means then what I believe the timetables for this movement of Marine forces to Guam, that they may not be in line with what Guam is able to do in terms of providing the necessary infrastructure support.
Jerry? John?
Did he mention any more defense officials that will be coming our way, or if he's going to be returning again to check on us?
No, there was no further mention on that regard.
Governor, who was the highest DOD official who was part of the meeting with you?
We had a representative, Paul Vosti, from the Assistant Secretary of the Department of Defense, and of course we had Admiral Payne.
And what, did they say anything toward getting this build up on track, or at least meeting the timelines based on
I
what
think
Guam can handle?
The importance of this meeting was not more of the dialogue between a representative of the territory of Guam and the Defense Department or the Navy. It was more of a dialogue between the representatives of the territory of Guam and a representative from the government of Japan. I think it was important that the defense minister heard from the governor of Guam the sentiments of administration of the people. Number one, on first of all, our support for this realignment, but also with that, also our deep concerns in regards to the type of support we are getting right now in regards to allowing us to have the necessary quality of life for our people here.
If you were to provide a wish list to Japan and to the Senate, what are your priority areas for Guam to be able to handle this
Well,
burden?
Obviously, the infrastructure is probably the most expensive dollar-wise. But if you can recall what the sentiment and what the spirit of the programmatic agreement is, it is that one Guam approach. It is that whatever is good for the government of Japan and government of the United States will be just as good for the people of Guam. And that whatever upgrades that are made inside the gate, those same types of upgrades will be outside the gate. We don't want an American community where it is Beverly Hills inside and the rest of us outside the gate are left to our own devices. That was the spirit of the programmatic agreement. And as representatives from the Senate deal with this, they have to remember that this administration, the people of Guam, signed off on a deal with the people, with the government of the United States, the federal government. And to this point, it is the federal government that has reneged on that deal.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Governor, did he talk at all about the rest of his visit? Who else he was meeting with, where he was going, what he was looking at?
Not to me, but again, my understanding, based on what I've seen in the media, is that he was obviously going to look at the assets, both outside the gate, in terms of infrastructure, what we have, as well as inside the gate of the military facilities.
Gov, based on what you know, is it still the Tinigagan area for a Marine base, or anything new on that end?
And I think that's, again, that's the process that is ongoing right now. There has been a determination to shrink the forces, and some of them would be deployed rather than stationed. So you're rather than the 15,000, that was 8,000 Marines and 7,000 dependents, we are now at 5,000 Marines and 1,500 dependents. So I think when you look towards that difference in number, that is where they have to reconsider all areas in terms of both cantonment facilities as well as training facilities.